Thomas, is this my cue to start?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is Area Mays with Let's Talk About Real Estate. Thank you so much for tuning in today. There's a lot going on in the real estate business. So, although it's a hot summer, the real estate market is hot too. So, we welcome you today. We would like that if you have any questions, be sure to let us know what your questions are. We've had the webinar now for 6 months this year, and it has gone really well. We had Ruth from Candace Bank was here that spoke with you all on last month, and we are very thankful that Ruth was able to participate. And we hope that you all got as much information about lenders questions that you need. And if you need additional information, always feel free to reach out to me or Ruth. We always think of real estate as generational wealth, and we want to be sure that everyone knows that the opportunity to own your own home is available. Although a lot of things in the market has not changed, the interest rates are still a little bit more than it was a few years ago. The price of houses has not gone down. It's still an absolute good time to purchase a home. Even if you purchase a house now and later on in the year or next year, rates tend to drop some. You can always refinance and take advantage of the lower monthly payment. Real estate is generational wealth, and we want everyone to know the importance and the benefit of owning a home. You have so many benefits of owning a home compared to renting. It's an investment. Your house build equity. So a lot of people doesn't know the benefit of owning a home, but it's so many benefits to owning a home, and working toward being able to purchase a home is very important. You have to have a credit score of about a 640. Some lenders you can get a house with as low as a 620 credit score. And yesterday I was in an amazing meeting with Hope Credit Union that they told us that if we had buyers who had a credit score as low as 580, maybe have been turned down by other lenders, they can possibly get you pre-approved for a loan. So if you need additional information about that, feel free to contact me. It's a 100% loan, which means that there is no PMI, which means that you may say, well, what that means? That means that if you was getting an FHA loan compared to a conventional loan, getting the conventional loan at 100%, your mortgage payment would be less. So we have some information on that if anyone is interested in possibly going that route. But what our goal is to help everyone to get their own home that wants a home. We just believe that that helps a family. It helps the children to do better in life. And it helps you to feel better about the fact that you're paying a mortgage payment and this is going to be your home that you'll own for as long as you want until you decide to sell. And of course, if you decide to sell after you've made payments on your home and you've been in your house for a while, you built up equity that you can take advantage of for other things. For instance, that if you wanted to pull out money to possibly buy a car, go on a vacation, to help your children with their education. So there's so many benefits that it's available for you when you own a home. And we like for you to take advantage of it. Again, we stress that it's generational wealth, and generational wealth means that that is wealth that you can pass down to your children, to your grandchildren. So the benefit of that is that you're setting up a stability of passing down wealth to your family. A lot of people may not look at it that way, but that's the way we want to build a culture that looks at it and be able to help their children and their grandchildren, and also instill to them the importance of buying a home and then maintaining a home. We talked about the upkeep of a house. Ruth mentioned in her one webinar the importance of updating your house. She mentioned that maybe once a year, when during tax season, if you just do just a little bit, it could be changing a light fixture, it could be painting, it could be that you take the extra income and put it toward the house, and it benefits you in the long run. And not only that, if you have an older house and you're fixing it up, it helps you to want to just enjoy your house. It doesn't give you that desire that I need a new house. You can have a house that you can just continually to fix up, because your house is your home. You're making it the place that you want to be and that you want to go there and just enjoy. So those are some things that we need to know about home ownership. And then also taking the steps to get prepared to purchasing a home. What do? You basically you work on your credit. You want to get your credit up to par when you get ready to purchase a home. You don't want a whole lot of debt. You want to pay your credit card bills down. And when we say pay credit card bills down, to at least about 30% of your credit amount, your credit limit. So about 30%. And just to give you an example of that, if you got a $1,000 credit limit, you want to pay the credit card down to possibly about $300, somewhere like in that frame of that amount. That helps to improve your credit score. What you don't want to do is when you get ready to buy a house, a lot of people think, well, I need to close this account or I need to pay this completely off. Those are not things that you want to do when you're getting ready to purchase a home. And the reason why is because the creditors want to see that you got credit and you are disciplined with your credit, which means that you got $1,000 credit limit and your balance is only $300. That's showing discipline, that you're not just going out on a shopping spree and just spurging just because you got that extra credit on your credit card and things like that. So discipline is very important when it comes to trying to get your credit at a stable score. And the big difference of paying down credit cards is so important. One time that I had a credit card and I paid it down some, I believe my score went up like about 50 points, so the big difference of what that can make is very important. And then us being conscious and know that this can make a difference when I get ready to purchase a home, that makes a big difference. It really does. The lenders want to see that you got about 3 credit lines open and then that you're being very disciplined with that. And if you have more, that's fine, as long as you just have everything maintained is what it requires. There is a lot of funds available for home buyers, first-time home buyers in different areas. If you purchase a home, and you would be really surprised, if you purchase a home in different areas, you may not have to come out of pocket with the down payment. However, you would have to come out of pocket with closing costs. And when I say come out of pocket, someone has to pay it, meaning that either you would have to pay it, or if you was going to write a contract on a house, you could ask the seller to pay it. But you do want to have some money saved up when you get ready to purchase a home. So when we say that you can buy a house with no money down, that does not mean that you doesn't need any money in the bank. You do need some money in the bank. And then some people will say, well, how much money do I need in the bank? I would say as much as you can, because when you're going through the process, you're going to need money for your home inspection. You'll need money for your appraisal. You'll need money for your earnest money. That's your good faith money. And then not only that, you'll need money to move into your new home. So you want to save up as much money as you can. That helps it to be less stressful for you when you get that opportunity to move into your new home. And that's what we want, is that everyone that wants a home, we want you to be able to get into a home. If you're thinking about it and you need to talk with us, feel free to give us a call. We can tell you what steps you need to take to prepare. But home ownership is very important for our culture, for our people. It's very important. And we want to help as many people as we can to take advantage of the funds that's available to purchase a home, to be knowledgeable of what the benefit of owning a home, to know what your equity is if you do own a home, and then all that it entails. So that we want you to be knowledgeable and have as much information about what it takes to be a home owner. When you get ready to start the purchase of a home, you want to talk with a loan officer. That's very important. A lot of people think that I want to go and find me a house. And a lot of people even jump ahead of themselves and they'll go out and start looking at houses. That's the absolute most disappointing thing, one of the most disappointing things that you can do. If you wanted to stay within the guidelines, it would be to initially talk with a loan officer to see how much of a house you can get pre-approved for. And then after talking with the loan officer and you know what price point that you're going to be looking at, then you get with a realtor so that you don't get disappointed. Just say hypothetically that you went out and started looking at houses and you was looking at a house at about 300,000. And the loan officer came back and said that, oh, you only can get approved for 250. Well, you've been looking in that price range and you can't purchase it. It gets to be disappointing. So what we want to do is we want to be sure that purchasing a home is not a disappointing process. We want it to be an easy process. We want to help you with giving you as much information that you need with the process so that it can be a smooth process. I have had clients that has bought houses that have said this has been the most smoothest process that I could imagine. And the reason why is because they had already taken the necessary steps to prepare it to be smooth. And when the realtor comes in, we just keep the flow going so that it can be a very nice, smooth process. You can get the house that you desire in your price range and get ready to move on to closing. So we talked about you want to save up money and be prepared because you're going to have other expenses when you get ready to move in a house. You'll need to have your utilities turned on, so you'll need funds for that. You may have to pay for a moving truck. So you want to have as much money saved up as possible so that you can obtain and have a smooth home purchase process. We're excited about the opportunity of what's all available for new homeowners. And if you're looking at purchasing a home, be sure to feel free to give me a call. If you're looking at selling a home, then let me know too. It's an absolute good time to sell a house in the market. Now there's buyers are out. The most busiest time when buyers are out looking for houses are between March and September. So we're in a hot market now that there's buyers looking for houses. So if you're looking to sell a house and you need to know what you need to do to get prepared to sell a house, be sure to give me a call so I can tell you what you need to do. We look at the comps in the area, come up with a reasonable amount to list your house for, tell you what you need to do to prepare to put the house on the market. And that's something that is very important. When you get ready to sell a house, you want to be prepared because you have to look at the fact that if a buyer is buying this house and if they're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for, which of course they more than likely they will, because there's nothing hardly on the market for less than $200,000 in the Mid-South area. So they would be paying like hundreds of thousands of dollars for the house. Then you want to be sure that it's presented to them in a way that they feel good about their hard-earned money going toward the mortgage payment of the house. Some things that you may need to paint. If there's some rotten wood, you definitely want to get those fixed. If there's anything leaking in the house, you want to get that fixed. You want to be sure that your air conditioning is up to par, your water heater is up to par, and everything is up to par. And you don't have to go through the extreme. What I'm saying, the things that need to be done are the mechanical things that should be functioning anyway. And then when it comes to painting and things, you don't have to go through the extreme, but just be sure everything is very nice and clean when you're getting ready to list your house. Those things are important. And if you want to know more details about that, feel free to contact me. If you're looking for investment property, this is not, and I have a lot of people that may call me and ask, I want a foreclosed house. This is not a foreclosed market. We haven't had a foreclosed market since about 2015, 2008 to 2015. That's when it was a aggressive foreclosed market. So when you ask me for a list of foreclosed houses, there's few to none available. So you have to wait. The market changes with different things just depending on what's going on in the market. And now because this is not a foreclosed market, there's no foreclosures available. However, from time to time, you may run across something that's a good deal, and everybody wants a sweet good deal, but it's not a whole lot of sweet good deals available now. But there are very good opportunity to purchase homes that are available right now. So you definitely want to take advantage. If you want to purchase a home, if you know someone wants to purchase a home, you want to take advantage of the opportunity. We are expecting interest rates to drop some. We just don't know, when. We got a lot going on with the economy. We have a lot going on with in the White House and different things like that. But at some point, we do believe that interest rates are going to drop some. And if you bought a house at the higher interest rate and then you refinance when it's a little bit less, you can save a few $100,000. I'll give you an example of what happened with me. When I purchased my home, I had a mortgage payment of, I think it was about $1,800 a month. And I was comfortable with that. But then when things changed and the rates went down, the interest rates went down, then my I got a call from my lender. They asked me, and you don't get this call often, but I did get a call from a lender. That's when the interest rates had gone down. They asked me if I would like to refinance and get a lower interest rates. Of course, I said yes. And that would be the thing that you want to do is that you, especially if your lender called. But however, they did. We went through the process, and my mortgage payment dropped by $400. Now that was a significant savings per month. So I tell you that to tell you for you to know this, that if interest rates do drop, you want to take advantage of the lower interest rates. If you can save as much as 50 to 100 or 200 or $300 a month, that's a big savings. So you take advantage of it. It's not a difficult process to refinance as long as you got the equity in your home. You go to the mortgage company that you currently have your mortgage with and just talk to them about refinancing. Of course, if they can't help you, then we have other lenders, but we do highly recommend that you go to your current lender to get refinanced so that they can give you the best deal. I think I pretty much have covered as much as I anticipated on today. I would love to hear if you all have questions and I can answer your questions. In the past, we had inspectors, we had appraisals, we had the home warranty guy, we didn't have the appraisal. We had an inspector, the termite guy, the home warranty guy. That would be good for me to have an appraisal online with you all. But we've had them in the past, and we'll probably ask them to come back and talk with you all because we want to give you all as much real estate information that we can. We want to be very helpful and you take advantage of all the information that we can give you. Is knowledge is powerful, so we want to give you as much knowledge about the real estate business that we can. So with that being said, I appreciate you all logging on, and I would love to see if any of you have any questions for me.
Question just came in. Is there a checklist to prepare for selling or purchasing?
There is a checklist. If the person can contact me directly, I can get that list to you.
And also, is a FICO 700 score good?
That is absolutely great. So anyone that has a 770 FICO score, that means that you are really doing well with keeping your credit up. So the answer to that is a 770 is very good.
I'm sorry, 700.
Okay, a 700 is good. As long as you got anything above a 620, you're good. 640 is better, but a 700 is great. You very seldomly see a person that has a 700. So whoever asks that question, they got a 700, pat yourself on the back because that's very good.
And we have a hand raised from Miss Brenda.
Yeah, because I couldn't get on my computer to get out use my iPhone. But I'm going to be calling you. Are you going to be available right after? Is that a better time to call you?
No, I should be available right after we.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, and thank you, because last time I called you about a matter and it was very helpful. I was trying to help somebody else get some answers to something. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you. I mean, everything you've done, everything you provided, all the speakers, presenters, it's been excellent. It's been excellent. Thank you so much.
Good. We appreciate you and thanks for you tuning in. So we thank you too.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. Did anyone else have any other questions?
Question, do you think the interest rates will go down anytime soon?
That is the talk. Yes, we don't have a crystal ball, but that is what lenders are saying that they're expecting them to go down. I think that we anticipated a reduction in the last month, this month, I believe, and that didn't happen. However, I did get a message from a lender saying that they do expect it to go down some, so that we don't know when, but we do expect it to go down some. The answer is yes. And hopefully it'll be this year. They sort of make decisions quarterly. So we in June, they did not lower the rate. Maybe by September, December, they possibly will lower the rate.
What is the first thing you need to do to purchase a house?
The first thing you need to do to purchase a house is that you want to get prepared. So you want to be sure that your debt is paid down, not paid off, or not closed, but you want to just be sure your debt is paid down. So that's preparing. You want to also save up some money. So, some people say, well, how much money do I need to save up? Then we can't give you a figure of that, but I would say save up as much as possible. Okay. So that's very important to save up money. And then when you at that point and you know that you got some money saved, your credit is up to par, you've paid your credit card bills down, or some people may not have credit card bills, then it's time for you to talk with the lender. So if you don't know a lender that you would like to talk to, then of course, you can call us and we can recommend a lender for you. You want to see which programs are available in the area that you're looking at purchasing to take advantage. If there's a 100% program available, if there's some down payment assistance, or what's going to be the benefits for you in the area that you're purchasing a home. Some people will get pre-approved with out-of-state lenders, and that's well and good. But when you get approved with an out-of-state lender, they don't know about the local money that's available for you to purchase. So I would not recommend that a buyer get pre-approved with an out-of-state lender. I would recommend that you go to a lender here that's local in the area, and then they can help you with with the benefits of what's available for you to take advantage of. Someone sent a message and said, what's my number? My phone number is 901-335-9324. Again, that's area Mays, 901-335-9324. And I believe there was another question that popped up. I didn't see what it was.
Are all closing costs paid by the buyer? What is the seller responsible for?
Okay. So the buyer is responsible for their closing costs. However, you can ask a seller to pay your closing costs, and keep in mind that it's not mandatory that a seller pay your closing costs. So if someone say, no, I'm not going to pay your closing costs, that's what their decision is. So as a buyer, you're actually responsible for your closing costs. And if a seller does agree to pay it, and we do highly recommend that you ask them to pay it, but it's not mandatory that they pay it. So a seller, what they're responsible for is that they're responsible for selling their house and being sure that you get into a house that's maintained and that's up to par, that is past inspection, past the appraisal. That's what they're responsible for. If they agree to pay your closing costs, that is a perk. So it's not mandatory that they have to pay your closing costs. A buyer is responsible for their own closing costs, but we do highly recommend that you ask your seller to pay your closing costs. And not only that, when we list the house and put it on the market, we try to let the seller know in advance that a buyer may want you to pay their closing costs, so that they could have calculated that in their numbers when they list the house. They're not going to advertise that we'll pay closing costs, but you always want to ask for it. And here lately, I have not had any buyer asked for closing costs and a seller did not pay it. So usually they will pay it. What's involved in closing costs? Closing costs consist of your lender fees, your appraisal fees, your attorney fees, and your escrow fees. So all of that is what closing costs is. It's the funds that the amount of money that the lender charged for providing the loan to you. Is the attorney fees. They have to do title searches and a lot of legality has to go into that. Your appraisal, the lender has to send the appraisal out, and then setting up your escrow. Now, some people say, what is escrow? Escrow is when they set up a savings account for you so that when your taxes and insurance is due, then the money is there in your escrow account, your savings account, for them to pay that bill. So you don't have to come out of pocket with paying for taxes and insurance. So they already set up a savings account for you. Can you purchase a foreclosed home? You absolutely can purchase a foreclosed home, but there's very few to none foreclosures available. It's not a foreclosed market right now, but yes, if there's ever the availability of foreclosed homes, you can purchase them. If a house, and some houses are foreclosed and they're in good condition. Some of them, when they're foreclosed, they're not in good condition. So if they're not in good condition, you're going to have to get a conventional loan. It may not qualify for an FHA or a VA loan, but you have to get a conventional loan where the appraisal is just a little bit linear and that you know that you're walking into a house that's going to need some repairs. But is there any foreclosed properties available right now? The answer is no. Was there any more?
I'm not seeing any more questions pop up. If anyone has any questions, they're more than welcome to ask at this time.
Okay, the question is, does housing cost usually goes up when I'm sorry, I missed that. Can you read that, Thomas?
What is the market value? Well, hold on. Do housing costs usually go up when interest rates drop?
Typically that can happen, yeah, when interest rates drop. And what happened is that when inventory is low, then the prices go up, and then when inventory is more, then the prices come down. So what drives the market is that the availability of the houses, the inventory. And what happened is that when the interest rates was in the threes, twos, threes, fours, of course the inventory became low because so many people was buying houses so quickly. So then therefore the price went up. We haven't seen the inventory decrease right now, so that we haven't seen it that the price of the houses would go down enough in the market that the price of the houses would go down. And what I mean is that there was few houses then available. There is more houses now still available, but the market has not changed. Prices have not gone down.
Another question, what is the market value?
The market value is determined by the value of what the houses in the area sell for. So what we do is we do what we call is a market analysis, which is comps in the market that's on the market, and that determines what the market value is. And here in this area, in the Mississippi and Tennessee area, the way appraisal, and that's confirmed by an appraisal. Of course, a realtor can give you comps, CMAs, tell you what the market value is, but at the end of the day, the appraisal will determine that. And what that means is that the houses that's in your area, what they're selling for. So just say, for example, that what my house may value and another house that may be 10 miles away from here or 20 miles away from here, you may see a different variance because it's in a different location. So market value is going to depend on locations. And if you have a specific house or something like that that you want me to tell you about a CMA on that house, then I can definitely give you that information. But without an address, I can't specifically just say what the value of a house is and what the market value is.
Also, we had a hand raised. Ms. Boga, did you want to ask your question?
Well, actually, I went ahead and put it in the chat, but I was just saying, I remember in a previous show, it was mentioned that you always get an inspection on the home that you're purchasing. And if you could explain that for the benefit of others, unfortunately, I got caught up in that.
Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, what she was mentioning is that we did have an inspector on one of our talk shows, and what we do as realtors is that we highly recommend that you get a house inspected. So a home inspection is going to cost maybe about $350, but in my opinion, it's the best money that you can have paid for an inspection. And the reason why is because the inspector come in and they dissect the house. So they're going to look at everything, your electrical, your mechanical. They're going to look at everything in the house, and they're going to tell you what's going on with your house. They're working for you, so they're going to tell you what's going on. However, when you get an inspection and you're purchasing a home, the seller does not have to repair everything that the inspector said, because if you are buying an existing house, existing houses and new construction houses sometimes come with issues, but all the repairs are negotiable. So you do go to the seller and ask them to repair some of the things that the inspector may have found, some things that he's just giving you for informational purposes. But however, you do not have to purchase that home if the inspector finds something that's drastically wrong with it and the seller refused to bring it up to par or to fix it. So you don't have to buy that. And another thing is that if you get a home inspection and the sellers agree to repair some things, the inspector will, if you pay them, I think they charge about $100, and it's a well-spent $100, they will come back to check behind the sellers to see if what you requested them to repair was done correctly. And if it's not, you can always cancel your contract based on a home inspection contingency. However, you do have to follow guidelines, and in the Mississippi and Tennessee contracts, and your realtor will be sure and tell you that you have 10 days in Mississippi to get your house inspected.
Second row.
And then you negotiate those repairs. So just say hypothetically, what happened that if you did not fall in line of the 10 days, then you could either ask for an extension if you within that 10-day period, you can ask for an extension. But just say hypothetically on the end that you got ready to close and you out of that 10-day period and you said, well, now I want to bring an inspector in, that won't work, because you could possibly lose your earnest money then because you wasn't within your time frame. So all our contracts have time frames as to what need to be done, and your realtor lets you know what time frame and what needs to be done at what particular time. However, if things are not done within that time frame, you could possibly lose your earnest money. Your earnest money is your good faith money. So if you cancel the contract and you have not fell into the guidelines or the time frame that you needed to within the contract guidelines, then you could possibly lose your earnest money if you cancel the contract. So you should know that in advance, that there are risks that if you don't follow the guidelines within the time frame, that there's a possibility that you could lose your earnest money.
So if the inspection was initially refused in the agreement, there's nothing you can do about it unless you just go ahead and get an inspection on your own.
You'd have to get an inspection on your own anyway. So an inspector is a third party inspector. So you got two people that can look at the house. Okay, well, you can, within your contingency guidelines, you can get as many people as you want to look at the house. Okay, so if Mississippi, if it's a 10-day time frame. So say hypothetically that within that 10 days, you want to get a home inspector to come in. Then you're concerned about your heating and air conditioning, because home inspectors are not heating and air conditioning contractors. They just giving you advice and checking it out, okay? So then if they
Yeah.
recommend a heating and air conditioning contractor to come and look behind them. So within, you got to do everything within that time frame. So just hypothetically that the inspector seen an issue with the roof, then
Mm,
you've got to get if you desire or he recommend, you can get a roof contractor to come out and look at it. But everything has to be done within that time frame. Now, so you got
Mm.
inspectors that's looking at everything, and you got a 10-day time frame to get that done. That's not the appraisal. The lender is going to send the appraisal. The appraiser is going to do an
Yeah.
inspection as well. However, then the appraisal is not going to be as thorough as the home inspector.
Mm.
And you would have to pay for the home inspector out of pocket. The seller does
Okay.
pay for that.
Okay.
In Mississippi, the seller does pay for a termite inspection. So that's required in Mississippi. In Tennessee, the buyer paid for a termite inspection. And then when I say that it's required, it's not mandatory, because some lenders now will come back and say it's not mandatory. But we highly recommend that before you purchase a home, whether it be a $50,000 or $1 million house, get it inspected by a third-party inspector that you have selected that's going to be working out for your best interests. And in my recommendation, I would not, if a seller said that they want to get the house inspected for you, I wouldn't do it. I would just say, no, I get my own inspection.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I believe there was one more question. Can the purchase price be lowered if the seller does not want to repair, provided if it's not a major issue?
The answer to that is yes. Okay, so when you negotiate, you're in a contract with the contingencies. And if you've gotten a home inspection and the seller refused to repair some items, then you can go back. That's your time within that 10-day period. You can go back and negotiate those repairs or ask the seller to drop the price to suffice for the things that need to be taken care of. I just had one recently where a seller did not want to do any repairs, and they came back and said that although they had agreed to pay $10,000 toward the buyer's closing costs, they said that they would give her an additional $2,500 in lieu of taking care of any home inspection repairs. It wasn't anything major, so she agreed to it, but we did counter back to the seller and said instead of $2,500, give her $3,000. So the buyer was content with the fact that she was going to be getting an additional $3,000, which the repairs probably was not going to be $3,000, but it was just a matter of fact that she was pleased with it, and the seller, they was pleased because they was going to give her an additional $3,000 from the sale of the house. So it's all negotiable as long as you is in your time frame of negotiating it.
The 10 days begin and end when?
Okay. The 10 days begin at the date that the contract is signed by the buyer and seller. So we call that the binding contract date or executed contract date. So when the date that everyone has come into an agreement, that's when the 10 days begin. And just say hypothetically, if it was on July the 1st, then your 10 days in on July the 10th. And your realtor should be watching that. We have to be sure, because we do have binding legal contracts. We have to be sure that we're watching those guidelines and telling you and getting things done as quickly as possible so that it won't be an error on your end that you could lose your earnest money. So we have time guidelines that we have to follow, and we let the buyers know, what's going on and what needs to be done during that time frame.
And I believe that concludes our question and answer portion.
Okay. Well, I am glad that you all tuned in today. If you have questions, feel free to contact me. Again, my name is Aria Mays. My phone number is 901-335-9324. I'm available for you at any time that you have questions about your real estate needs. Feel free to contact me, and I will, if I don't have the answer, I'll get the answer for you.